Unit 3, Lesson 11 homework. Let's get right into it. China, Luis, Jorge, and Brielle have 1/3 pizza to share equally. How much of a whole pizza will each person get? All right, so we read that one time, so we want to get the gist. Basically, we got a few different people. You might not remember their names. That's cool. But you might remember, you just want to know that you got a few different people that are trying to share a certain amount of pizza equally. How much of a whole pizza will each person get? All right, so now when you read it the second time, you want to read it for all the key information. So China, Luis, Jorge, and Brielle have 1/3 pizza to share equally. How much of a whole pizza will each person get? So let's identify the key information. 1/3 of a pizza, that's very important. You also want to know how many people are there? China, Luis, Jorge, and Brielle. That's 4 people, and they're sharing it. Sharing equally. Ding, ding, ding. Y'all should be thinking, boom, division. All right. So every time you see stuff like sharing equally, sharing, distributing, okay? So we want to know how much of the whole pizza everybody's going to get. So now I think we're ready to actually go into this problem. Let's talk about it. The first thing we probably want to think about is we know it's division, but we don't know what's being shared. What are we sharing equally? Are we sharing the pizza equally, or are we sharing people equally? And y'all usually know what I tell you. If one of them is involving people, there's a good chance that you're not dividing people. All right? So if there's people involved and there's something else, it's usually the something else that's being divided. So let's go with that. So let's say our 1/3 pizza, 1/3 divided by how many people? I'm gonna use black. I think black shows better. 1/3 divided by how many people? We got China, Luis, Jorge, and Brielle. So that's 4 people. So we're going to take that 1/3 of a pizza and divide it by 4. So let's get into it. Y'all know I like to do my shaded diagrams. I like to do them as a rectangle. All right. So how will we go about representing 1/3 with this rectangle? By now y'all should know we probably want to separate into 3 pieces. All right. So y'all know what to do. But please don't just start drawing a bunch of random lines, all right? Make every line count, and there's a reason for every line, okay? This first line is showing this section. So now we got 3 sections, all right? Let's go ahead and shade 1/3 of those sections, all right? So now we got our 1/3 represented. How are we going to divide by 4? Because we need to take this and think about how are we going to divide it by 4. By now you should know the easiest way is probably just go ahead and divide, like separate it into 4 sections. Let's do that with some opposing lines. All right. This will divide it into 2. And now, how many sections we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So we separated our 1/3 into 4. This is our 1/3. And we chopped it into 4. So when you chop it into 4, we're only worried about that one section that got divided into 4. Because that's the piece, that's the amount that everybody's going to get. Because Jorge wants the same amount as China. China wants the same amount as Brielle. And Luis don't want to be left out either. He wants the same amount. We all got to get the same amount, right? All right. So let's talk about what not percentage, but what fraction of the whole does this represent? All right, so we got 1. How many pieces, well, how much of the whole does this represent? 1 of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1/12. All right. Any questions on that? Doesn't matter because I can't hear you, like what I did there. All right. So we represent this problem with a diagram. We did everything we're supposed to do. Let's move on to problem number 2. Can somebody read that problem for me? Oh, I forgot. You guys aren't. Okay, never mind. Nobody's here with me, so Okay. All right. Well, I'll read it since none of you guys can read it for me. The Oliver family ordered 3 pizzas. Each family member will get half of a pizza. How many family members will be served pizza? I want to try and get the gist because I only read it one time. There's a family. There's 3 pizzas. Everybody wants to get a half. Let's see how many pieces everybody gets. So that's what I'm thinking in my head when I'm trying to get the gist. That's what you need to be able to do. You need to be able to read this problem and be able to just flip the page over and tell me about it. If you can't tell me nothing about that problem after you flip that page, then you haven't read it enough. And you also need to start focusing while you're reading. Don't just be reading words. No, read with a purpose. Read with a purpose. All right, so now we read it and got our gist. Let's read it again and tie out and bring out all the key information. The Oliver family ordered 3 pizzas. Each family member will get half a pizza. How many family members will be served pizza? Okay, so now let's write down the important stuff. I'm not going to write it down here, but let's identify the important stuff. Obviously, 3 pizzas is very important. Write that down. I'll wait. 3 pizzas. Obviously, each member getting half a pizza is very important. Write that down. So we're seeing how, let's see how each family member will get half a pizza. When you start thinking about each, you need to be thinking about how much is each person getting. Think about things being distributed. Think about things being shared equally. You should be thinking like, okay, envision yourself in the problem. You're a part of the family. There's a big pizza, and you're trying to distribute this pizza evenly. You should be thinking division, okay? So let's go into it. 3 pizzas. So how about, I'm going to switch it up this time. Usually y'all know I love me some rectangles. We're talking pizzas, so I'm going to just go ahead and do some circles this time, all right? Y'all know most of the time I like rectangles just because they're a little easier sometimes for me in my mind, but whatever shape is good for y'all. All right. Okay, so we got 3 pizzas. Now we got our 3 pizzas represented. Each family member wants to get a half of a pizza. So what do you think we would want to do to these pizzas so that we can divide them into 2? Let's chop them up. Chop them in half. Let's do it. Boom, and boom. Okay, so when we divided those pizzas in half, now we can think about how many family members we could feed. All right, because we got a half here, a half here, a half here, a half here, a half here. So everybody's getting a half. Let's count it out. How many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so now we could feed 6 people. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm out.